1 in an overtime win for the Jazz over the Phoenix Suns. Let's talk about all aspects of it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, before we get into this, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Okay, so overtime win. Sorry, it took me a little bit to get this live stream going, but I was kind of watching a baseball game and had to write the recap. You can go read it on SLC Dunk, but we'll talk about it here. Also, I don't know, am I going to get banned if I kind of glance at the baseball game as we're going? Go Blue Jays. Get those Dodgers out of here, right? Okay, so there's a lot to go through with this one. Let's just get into it. We can talk about the Suns a little bit. The Suns are extremely depressing, but you're a fan of Devin Booker. He was good tonight, 34 points, 10 assists, but he shot just 11 for 26 from the field. He just was not hitting those shots that he typically does. And for me, as someone who is rooting for the Jazz to get a superstar on this team, because I figure that's what, the Jazz front office and owner would want to do, I was hoping they would win this game, and they did not because of Lauri Markkanen. And if Devin Booker could just hit a mid-range jumper like he normally does, they probably win this game. But they had some nice shooting from Ryan. But he played pretty well, although look at that, minus 29. Royce O'Neal was 6 for 17 from the field. It's, 13 rebounds for Royce, who's like 6'4", maybe 6'5". The guy plays his heart out. He's just got some limitations, but you can't argue that he doesn't play hard. And look at that, led the Suns in minutes. So 13 rebounds for him, 5 steals, 7 assists. I mean, is this the best game of Royce O'Neal's career? Maybe. He was pretty good tonight. He goes 6 for 17 from the field, though, but he does hit 5 for 12 from 3. Always gonna love Royce O'Neal. Once a Jazz man, always a Jazz man. But I tell you what, this Suns team is pretty barren. I mean, they were finally able to get some centers in Mark Williams and Nick Richards. They basically just decided to get the centers from the Charlotte Hornets. And, Mark Williams had a nice night, 25 points, 11 rebounds. He's a solid NBA big. I tell you what, the Mark Williams thing is funny because it just shows how stupid the Lakers are. Holy crap. Their center situation is so putrid and so bad. Dominating the toilet with how bad he plays. And they could have had Mark Williams, and they nixed that trade. That was the dumbest, stupidest, most moronic thing. And yes, I'm going to take this moment on my podcast or show or whatever this is to just mock the Lakers and how dumb they are. They are so dumb. They had Luka Doncic fall into their lap. They could have had Mark Williams, a very solid starting NBA center. Huge guy, by the way. He's one of the bigger guys in the league. I don't know if people realize how big Mark Williams is. He's freaking huge. And they didn't do it. So anyways, I guess the Suns took advantage. And, I was kind of hoping we'd get a chance to see Common Malawach. He did not play at all. So, I don't know. It's a weird kind of setup this Suns team has, and I think this Suns team is a little bit of a warning or a story that the Jazz should know about for what they're doing right now, but we can talk about that in a little bit. If I remember, if you want to remind me to talk about some of these points I mentioned, tell me in the comments. We just go. All right, guys. Lauri Markkanen scores 51 in 45 minutes. It's 32 field goal attempts to do it, 43% from the field. He did shoot 6 for 13 from 3, so Markkanen is now shooting a nice percentage from 3, and we've got like a really nice duo going. And we saw a little bit of this last year, and it's very validating for me. Some of the things that I just was so tired of last year. Keyonte George deserves a lot of credit. My gosh. And he honestly, we got to actually, now that I'm going to get pissed off just talking about this. But 25-26, Markkanen, let's see, is he averaging 26.5 per game? 40% from 3. Really great. Really great to see Markkanen. Let's just check this game right now. 2 outs, 2 on. Rojas is on. Come on, Blue Jays. All right. So anyways, Markkanen scores 51. It was awesome. He is such a gifted scorer off the ball. It just requires high-level guard play for him to play well. I think that's the key. And pun intended, I guess. That's the key. But anyways, he does 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 51 points. He was awesome tonight. And, it is a Suns team that is not good. They're a very not good team. But you know what? Markkanen beat up on him, and that's what you would want to see. You should beat up on the Phoenix Suns. That's what you should do, and that's what he did. And Markkanen has had a great start to the season. It's nice to see. But I think there's some things we got to watch. And I think that's where I'm going to go next, because we have to give credit to Keyonte George. This guy deserves all the credit. And honestly, it makes me mad about last year, because we talked about this. And how many times did I talk about how many good signs we were seeing from Keyonte George? But because of the Utah Jazz and their unwillingness to trade Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson last year, it just hurt the team and it hurt Markkanen. To be honest, Keyonte George in this one scores 26 with 10 assists. And I can assure you, most of these were to Lauri Markkanen, setting him up. Yes, there were other guys getting assists on the team, but no one was even close to what Keyonte George was doing. But honestly, on the Prize Picks, and I might be getting Prize Picks back, baby. But anyways, you hit that over on the assists. I think Prize Picks is putting Key at like 6 assists right now. So that is easy money until they start getting wise to it. But he is playing so well. And it's just really showing that if Lauri Markkanen is on a team with a high-level guard, and I'm talking high-level, and yes, Keyonte George, high-level point guard, is setting him up. You see what Lauri Markkanen can do. It's a great duo. And Utah right now, in fact, we're just going to do this. Let's go to the stats, because we do this every show now, basically. I don't know if we'll do this every time. But let's go to the stats page here. And I want to see where the Jazz stand after tonight. Teams advanced. Okay. Why did you make that so hard? All right. So after tonight, the Oklahoma City are 4-0, and they have them ranked 1. Offensive rating, the Utah Jazz are the number 5 offense in the NBA. And so much of this credit goes to Keyonte George. Now, the Jazz are shooting just a little bit out of their minds, although I guess they end this game just 32%, so maybe not quite, but they are scoring at an incredible level. The Jazz are the number 5 offense in the league, and that's why they are in this game, in these games. Now, the other side of the coin, Utah sits at 13. So holding strong there. Number 13 defense, number 5 offense. That's pretty great. You're seeing what this Jazz team can kind of do when they are just trying to win the game. Very nice to see. This Jazz team can score, and it's definitely around the fact that Lauri Markkanen is shooting 40, just in the 40s from 3. It helps that Walker Kessler is shooting, I think with this, he's now shooting 75% from 3. Walker Kessler's numbers are a big part of this too. But yeah, Filipowski came down to earth. I was waiting for it, and it finally happened. But you've got to give a lot of credit to Lauri Markkanen. He's playing incredible. And then, yes, let's talk about Keyonte George. 10 assists, 5 rebounds. He's playing good defense. You'll see this. Markkanen's a plus 26, but that means he's sharing the floor with mostly the starters. Keyonte George, they have him playing 42. Although I guess Markkanen, you know what? Markkanen was the best player tonight. Absolutely. 26 tonight. He was awesome. But I tell you what, Keyonte George is the one setting him up. He is the one manning this offense, and Lauri Markkanen is great, but there's some things that he cannot do. One of them is initiate the plays. He is just not a ball handler. So that is why he is dependent on a good point guard. You know, we saw him play really well with Mike Conley. We're now seeing him play really well with Keyonte George. Not really that, it's not rocket science, right? But anyways, Keyonte George is setting him up. Lauri Markkanen is playing better. He is not a player that can handle the ball in traffic much. You have to get him in the post with the ball if he's going to do any sort of creation. And then you have to set him up with different things. He comes off curls. He's cutting to the basket. Keyonte hit him with multiple alley-oops, cuts to the basket. It was incredible. And, let's see if they'll load the... Yep, here we go. We got him. So we'll just see these loaded plays. Let's see here. Video not available. Okay, here we go. Here's Keyonte George to Markkanen. Boom. Easy stuff. Kessler, Mykhailiuk, Markkanen, Kessler, Mykhailiuk, Filipowski, Markkanen. Let's see right here. Mykhailiuk getting set up by Keyonte George. These are just simple plays. Look at that nice cross-court pass to the corner. Markkanen floating jump shot. Key is just setting him up. I honestly think Key had more than 10. This is just simple stuff, but Keyonte George is running this offense. Kessler, 5-foot cutting shot. Look at this. This is just easy pick and roll. He makes it look easy. Keyonte George is just getting so much better. And when he figures out that, you know what, why don't I average 13 assists per game? Look at that. That bullet pass to Mykhailiuk. That is just money. And then Filipowski, 24, let's see, 3-point shot here from Filipowski, the one shot he made. Look at this. In and out, corner three, bang. It's really nice, guys. What we're seeing is impressive stuff from Keyonte George, and it's setting up the entire team. It's not just Key setting up Markkanen, but he is certainly initiating the offense, and everyone else is getting it done. It's nice to see. Flipping the script, $2, my man. I really appreciate it. That's incredible. Lauri was Fahrenheit 51. Incredible. Finisher on fuego. Finisher on fuego. I don't know how to say anything in Finnish. Actually, I do know how to say one thing, but it's a swear, so I'm not going to do it. And I learned it at the MTC from someone from Finland, and I not going to say it. Filipowski, this is now like 2 games where it's not been very good, and I've been waiting for this. It's why I was annoyed that Taylor Hendricks wasn't starting. 1 for 7 from 3. He only played 20 minutes tonight, and you could argue Taylor Hendricks didn't play better, but what I like about Taylor Hendricks is he brings defense, and it's a weak side shot blocker, and I would like to see Taylor Hendricks with this offense and see how it looks. Now, maybe Filipowski runs the offense better. Maybe it's because of his passing. That's what everyone says. Kind of feel like Keyonte George doesn't really need it. And that kind of panned out today when Filipowski rested. It was interesting that to end the game, instead of Filipowski being on the floor, they brought in Walter Clayton. So it's clear that what Will Hardy's apparently doing is making sure that there's 2 kind of play initiators for this starting unit. Now, I have some frustrations with some things, and I think a lot of Jazz fans do. So we've got to be excited about the win. Woo! Woo! They won the game. But there's also some things that are a little difficult. This Jazz team, like I said, Markkanen does some really incredible things. He's catch and shoot 3, cutting to the basket. He's got that nice, when he's getting the ball in motion of the offense, really nice. He cannot initiate the offense. And the other thing that he cannot do is he is not a pull-up 3-point shooter. Now, this season, he's probably doing a little bit better, although I don't know how many. In fact, let's see. Are any of these pull-up 3s? Stop saying not available when it is. Come on. There we go. All right. Jump shot. Let's see. This is Markkanen coming off a screen. See, that's a catch and shoot. You'll notice that none of these are pull-up 3s. So he comes up, watch this. Markkanen 3-point jump shot. Gets the pass from Filipowski. Oh, no. Wow, that's a crazy pass from Filipowski, actually. That was awesome. But catch and shoot 3. 3-point shot here, Markkanen. Off the curl, catch and shoot. Next one. Oh, my gosh. I just hit the wrong button. Let's go here. Jump shot. Markkanen. Here we go. In transition. Catch and shoot 3. Bang. I mean, he's really good at it, but he does not initiate these shots. He is getting set up with these shots. Look at that. Catch and shoot. Bang. Nice. And then finally here, it's actually crazy that not a single one of these is a pull-up. This is a catch and shoot. Great stuff, incredible stuff, but there are some limitations with his game. So he absolutely has to have great point guard play to set him up, or at least great offensive play. You saw a lot of those were like Filipowski drive and kick, Nurkic drive and kick, Keyonte George drive and kick, right? That's how he's getting these threes. What makes it difficult with Markkanen is he is not a guy that initiates. He's not a guy that dribbles up and then takes the three. He just doesn't do it. And when he does, he doesn't make it. You can look at the numbers. I've written about it. It's just non-existent. So that makes it a little difficult to kind of build this team, in all honesty, because he plays one of the most important positions. He plays 3-4. That's where typically your superstars are playing. A lot of those superstars are handling the ball. So it does make this lineup kind of difficult. Utah actually has to find some unique players, and one of those is Filipowski, because he can handle the ball. It's probably why right now, and I'm not happy about it at all, but that Ace Bailey's not starting and Taylor Hendricks is not starting, because Taylor Hendricks probably not much of a playmaker right now either. He's still in development. This is technically, I mean, I guess not technically, but in reality, this is Taylor Hendricks' second season, because he got hurt in the third game last year. This is really his first time back. It's his second year. So he's still really young and developing. This is his third. But because of that, you need to give Keyonte George even more credit, because he is taking on the full playmaking load. And the handle is better. He had that one rough turnover at the end of, I think it was near the end of the game. And, that was a tough turnover. But for the most part, he is doing pretty well. 4 turnovers tonight. You want to keep that at 2 or 3 like we talk about, but this is not catastrophic. 10 assists. I think, people, lose their minds over LaMelo Ball, and he averages, 4.5 turnovers a game. He's, 3 to 4 right now. If he can get to the 2 to 3 range, that's incredible. But I have a lot of good things to say about Key. He's playing great. Once that 3-point shot starts falling, it's gonna be lights out. He is so good. And sometimes, and we've talked about this, sometimes it's not just making more or being efficiency. Sometimes isn't about just making more shots. Sometimes it's just not taking the bad ones, right? It's learning when to not take the shot. If Key just doesn't take 2 or 3 of these and figures out a different way to get the shot off, then this isn't so bad. If it's 2 out of 5, 2 out of 6, not so bad. You've got to learn when not to take the shot. And I think that's kind of another step for Keyonte George, because he's doing everything else. Look at this, 8 free throws. This is monster from Markkanen tonight. This right here is how they won the game. Brigham! That's my brother! Brigham Hansen! Guys, say hello to my brother joining the channel. Welcome, Brig. Say hi to Izzy and Grandma and Grandpa, and to everyone else, and the dogs and the cats. Welcome, Brig. But anyways, I lost my train of thought. Have I said enough nice things about Keyonte George? All right. Filipowski is probably playing because of his ball handling, his passing, and so on. But there's just some things with him that I am skeptical of. One is the defense, and 2, the shooting is streaky. There's times where it's good, and there's times where it's really not. And tonight it was not. It was 20 minutes, and that was it. Walker Kessler deserves a ton of credit. He is turning into a very good player, and I still kind of hold that I would not like to pay him more than 20 to 25 million, but Utah might get away with that. I do think, and let's just, before we get into big picture and the tough stuff, we do got to say that Walker Kessler is just turning into an awesome center. I don't think he's an all-star, but he's certainly a high-level starting center, and I think he can be a high-level starting center for a championship team if you can find the right price, right? You can only pay so many players. Yo! There's Brig. Right? So you've got to figure these things out, and you've got to find a way to get him into that 20 to 25 million. And maybe that's the plan with Utah, is just to go into restricted free agency and just see what's out there. I'm a little nervous that someone's going to, he's playing really great right now. And now it's too late for the Jazz to sign him. That's why that whole thing, the whole eligibility for a contract, this is why you sign the contract. I just dawned on me. Guys, dang it. That's why you do the contract. Because now what? All of a sudden, Kessler's shooting 75% from three. Obviously not going to shoot 75% from three for the whole season. But what if he's a 36% three-point shooter like Brook Lopez? Because now, guess what, guys? It's too late. They have passed the deadline for extensions. So now he is officially going into restricted free agency. And guess what? There are teams out there that might really like him. We know that the Lakers, 3 years. And the Jazz have now put him in restricted free agency. You know what, guys? It's dawning on me live. This is a problem, actually. It's great he's playing well, and the Jazz can match any offer, but do they want to? Because now they might have to. This sucks, man. Because if someone comes into this and offers him like $35 million to try to get him away, he might go. And then Ryan Smith is just going to approve it, and we're going to have $35 million. Oh, my gosh. This is why you get the contract done. Although I guess they probably tried, and he probably wanted too much. But he's playing extremely well. Now, I guess I would argue he's had 2 really good games. The game against the Kings, not so great. But against this Suns team, he was awesome. That we got a full season ahead of us. It's 3 games, so we shall see. But so far, he's looking great. And if that 3-point shot is falling, then look out. And he's also hitting his free throws tonight, 6 for 7. That was the big question mark. If he's doing that, then he's worth a lot of money. You just got to hope. And they were trying to foul him at the end of the game, so you got to give Kessler credit. He hit those free throws in crunch time, so that's nice to see. He does, every single time, though, I hear people talk about it, he probably gets yelled at more by Will Hardy than anyone on the team, from what people say. He gets, I don't know. So there's things that Hardy's seeing that we're not, but it's tough. All right, I don't want to talk about Svi Mykhailiuk. I'm sorry. I am so tired of this already. It is so stupid. He played well, and this is not any slight against Svi Mykhailiuk. He's shooting the ball well. You cannot argue that he did not play well. 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 1 for 1. What he does is he spreads the floor and he shoots open threes. That's what he does. He took 5 of them. He made 2. And he got a few buckets. He had that one really nice, easy lay-in set up by Keyonte George. But I don't know why he's playing over Ace Bailey. I don't get it. Ace Bailey also shot 2 for 5 from 3 today, but is on the bench playing with Bryce Sensabaugh and Walter Clayton and Yusuf Nurkic and the bench unit and Taylor Hendricks trying to figure things out. It is this starting unit knows how to play together very well. This bench unit is figuring it out, and it's pretty rough. And that's how the Suns came back from being 20 down. I don't like this Svi Mykhailiuk situation, guys. And you're starting to see, I saw some body language stuff that has me a little nervous. There was one point where Ace Bailey was in and made some sort of play, and it actually made me really appreciate Lauri Markkanen, because I get the feeling Lauri Markkanen really kind of gets it with some of these things. Ace Bailey had some sort of play. It didn't go perfectly well. And Svi Mykhailiuk comes over and starts talking to him. And you could see Lauri Markkanen come over to Svi Mykhailiuk. I don't have the video. I need to break it down. I might need to do a video breakdown of this. But comes over and kind of taps Svi on the shoulder and says, "It's okay. Let him go." And I appreciated that from Lauri Markkanen, because none of us is wanting to get coached up by the guy that our coach is replacing us with, and it's very arguable that it's a good idea, right? Yes, he's playing well, and you can't argue with the numbers tonight, but we've also seen Svi Mykhailiuk play really poorly before. And there is not a future of this Jazz team where Svi Mykhailiuk is an important part of it. If the Jazz are going to be a championship team, Ace Bailey needs to be a part of that, and that's why he needs to be starting. It doesn't make any sense. And honestly, winning these games doesn't make a ton of sense because Utah needs their superstar still. Are they a team that can win some games? Yes. But they're a team that is still missing that superstar kind of, heliocentric force that they need. And there's 3 of them in this draft. And you can tell, it's very clear, if Utah got Cam Boozer, he would fit right in this Filipowski role, and you put, Ace Bailey where Svi Mykhailiuk is, and let's go, right? It looks great. But it doesn't make sense, and I have a lot of thoughts on it, and I guess I am going to just talk about it now. Ace Bailey is the future. Svi Mykhailiuk is not. And like I've said, Utah, and I wrote about this, and I kind of talked about it in my last video, the problem with the Jazz, and I wrote about Socrates and his important quote that says, "Know thyself." It is important, and Socrates talked about knowing thyself is the gateway to wisdom. Knowing who you are, knowing what you are, is the starting point to wisdom. You cannot achieve wisdom and enlightenment unless you know who you are, what is your purpose in life and for everything. And the purpose of this Jazz team is to win a championship. But Svi Mykhailiuk does not, giving him those minutes does not lead you to that promised land. Okay? It doesn't. This is hindering. Winning games this year, as fun as it is, and how much better my numbers are when it happens, I don't care. What I care about is a championship. In the end, that's all I personally care about. And the way to winning a championship is developing Ace Bailey now, so that when 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, he's had as many reps as he possibly can. And Keyonte George is actually a very important case study for this. Because for the last 2 seasons, we've watched Keyonte George have to deal with the fact that Will Hardy has enabled the selfish play and also the Ainges and Ryan Smith for not trading Jordan Clarkson, for not trading Colin Sexton, for not trading, Kelly Olynyk until it was too late. And those guys were handling all the ball handling duties. It is now year 3 when we're finally seeing this from Keyonte George, when we could have seen it before. Instead, we watched Colin Sexton hog the ball all game long when he was on the floor, disrupt the offense every time. And to what end? We got Cody Williams. Because we wouldn't trade Colin Sexton. And people lost their minds that we would give up a second-round pick to trade Colin Sexton to bring on Yusuf Nurkic. Well, guess what? It was worth trading a second-round pick so that Keyonte George can do what he's doing now. That's the trade. You are trading a second-round pick to allow a better, more well-rounded player to play. That was the point. That was why you did it. And it took 2 years to make that choice. And I don't care how well Colin Sexton's playing for the Charlotte Hornets. We've seen him shoot the ball and play well with us. But it was not making the team better. It was just him grabbing numbers. It was not playing within the offense. I cannot tell you how impressive Keyonte George is playing right now. It is high-level point guard play. Point guard, not combo guard, point guard play we are seeing from Keyonte George that we have not had for years. And by the way, the other benefit of trading Colin Sexton and moving that second-round pick was right here. 51. Lauri Markkanen was not scoring 51 points last season with Colin Sexton taking all those shots and disrupting all that offense. It wasn't happening. The same with Jordan Clarkson. It wasn't happening. And all you Jordan Clarkson stands, goodbye. Go enjoy New York and watch it there. I am personally enjoying this team playing better, more fluid basketball. There are still problems. We still need our superstar. It's got to happen, and it will happen. I have hope. I have faith. But man, it is fine. It's nice to finally see them make the right choice. And you saw the signs with Keyonte George multiple times. He had multiple games where he was making the right pass, incredible flashes. But then within every single flash, you would have a wet blanket in Colin Sexton taking all the shots. Okay? Now, the other wet blanket we're seeing right now is Svi Mykhailiuk playing over Ace Bailey. I'm sure Svi Mykhailiuk is an incredibly nice guy and a good person, and I wish him very well. And I'm very happy that he's made lots of money playing in the National Basketball Association. But he should not be starting. And him playing over Ace Bailey is ridiculous. Now, to give credit to Will Hardy and to, in his defense, we've been hearing about this sickness. I don't know if he has pneumonia, COVID, the plague, mono, something. I keep hearing about sickness. I don't know what it is he's got. The flu? Everyone's saying he's dying on the floor, and then when I watch him play, he does something. I mean, he went up for a massive dunk. He goes 2 for 5 from 3. I had someone, by the way, guys, I appreciate, I forgot your name who sent me the DM, but I really appreciated it, who saw that Ace Bailey at one point came off the bench to go and Will Hardy sat him down. I think he wants to play. And this smells fishy to me a little bit. And the BS radar is just going off right now. You know, it may be and I'm rambling here a little bit, it may be as simple as the Jazz just think that Svi Mykhailiuk is hitting his threes more often than Ace Bailey. And Ace Bailey, when he's on the floor, yes, he can hit threes, but he's got the potential to be so much more, and he's going to try to do so much more. When if he's on the starting unit and he tries a little bit more and it doesn't work, that's going to probably not lead to wins. That said, that's what the Jazz need. This is the time for Ace Bailey to get better. Utah is not winning the championship this year. Utah needs their superstar player. They absolutely have to win the lottery this year. It is do or die. Do or die. They need to win the lottery this year. 100%. Here's the thing. Here's what I would say, and this would be my little compromise. I know no one in the Jazz office gives two rips about what I think, but if they did, and they were making a deal with me, I would say, tank this one more time. One last dance, baby. One last time. And then next year, when we don't owe our pick to Oklahoma City, then go for it. Then it's fine, right? Then you try to make trades. Then do all that stuff. We don't own our pick this year unless we're bottom 8. It makes no sense to give that pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder. It makes no sense. And it makes no sense for the Jazz to go for it far into the season, knowing that they are, as fun as this win was, it was against a bad Phoenix Suns team that was bad before they had 2 of their starters sit this game, right? So Ace Bailey not starting is ridiculous. And worse, if Ace Bailey starts and they start winning, then I guess it is what it is. If Ace Bailey is the superstar we need, then so be it. But we will not find that out either if he doesn't play. And on this second unit, I think Walter Clayton Jr. is playing very well. I don't think we're seeing Isaiah Collier again. That guy is just probably going to be DNP'd until, who knows what. But Bryce Sensabaugh is jacking up shots, and Ace Bailey's just not getting set up. If Ace Bailey's on the floor with Keyonte George, then things are getting set up, and things will look better for him, right? we saw in preseason he looked awesome when the offense was flowing and setting him up to score. He was great. The Jazz had the number 1 offense in preseason. They have the number 5 offense now. They have the number 1 offense in preseason. Something tells me that if you just let Ace Bailey play and you run through him, then it'll go well. So, but what's kind of difficult is that Ace Bailey and Lauri Markkanen are a little bit redundant, as well as Taylor Hendricks. So the Jazz have a little bit of a redundancy problem with some of their positions, and we've got to figure it out. And when you got the playmaking issues, and that's why, I don't know. It's kind of, there's still this weird mix of players that just doesn't quite work. And we'll see what happens this offseason. But anyways, that's my Ace Bailey and Svi Mykhailiuk thoughts. Ace Bailey, I think he looks good. He just looks the part. When he went up for that dunk, it was awesome. And yes, he's missing some shots. But when he goes out there, he's sitting in the corner. And when he gets the ball, he's just doing what he can to try to do something to help win. Maybe he's sick. I hope, I hope that's what it is. I really hope so. I hope it's not tendonitis. I hope it's not Will Hardy banishing him to the bench like he's not a top 5 pick. I hope he's sick. But right now, it's just a weird situation. It's very weird. And so we'll just keep going. Bryce Sensabaugh had his worst game of the season, no question. He was not good tonight. 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. Minus 25, defensively not good, and just kind of jacking up shots. Now, maybe that's him figuring out things with Ace Bailey, because Ace Bailey was also a minus 15. But, I guess we're just going to keep watching them and see how they develop. I don't know, but it was tough tonight. Taylor Hendricks also struggled tonight. This trio right here is, it's tough. I don't know what to think of it, to be honest. I love some of the things we're seeing from Taylor Hendricks. 6 rebounds is great. What is that? 1 steal. He's showing up defensively. In fact, it's nice to see that +1 with all these other bench players doing so poorly. Seeing Taylor Hendricks at a +1, that's a really good sign, actually. And what that is the defensive element. But he's not hitting shots, and at some point, I think this will fall. You just expect that 3-point shot to fall. It's just not there yet. Same with Ace Bailey, and we know that Bryce Sensabaugh can shoot the ball. Walter Clayton, we've got to give a little credit to Walter Clayton. He was put in at the end of the game, and Will Hardy's trying to win these games, and he put him in over Filipowski, who played poorly today. And Clayton was nice. 2 for 7 isn't great, but he hit a big 3 to keep the Jazz in this one. If he doesn't hit that 3, the Jazz lose this game. 2 assists, 3 rebounds. He plays hard. He's doing a lot of good things. Sorry, it's late. I love what we're seeing from Walter Clayton. Walt Clayton, he's awesome. And I think he's a big part of this Jazz future. Now, big picture, I don't know. Utah has to figure things out. This contract situation with Walker Kessler, I think, is going to be weird. And, him playing well raises his value. There may be a team out there that's like, we'll give you what you want. Lauri Markkanen, one thing that Zach Lowe has talked on his podcast about, and calling Markkanen the biggest, the most interesting trade candidate out there. But him, Zach Lowe has talked about how Markkanen had to re-up his trade value. Well, if 51 points doesn't do it, I don't know what will. But then at the same time, do the Jazz just want to keep him? Probably. But then you've just got this. The Jazz have just put themselves in such a weird place with that terrible that trade that they did that gave their pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder with those protections is one of the dumbest, stupidest, most moronic trades ever, because it has put this Jazz team in purgatory until this season. This is the final year of hell for us, okay? And I personally kind of feel like the Jazz have to pick one or the other. They kind of have to pick one or the other. And I kind of am thinking that Walker Kessler might be the trade, because if they can trade Kessler, he's more tradable. Right now he's on rookie contract. He can go to a team that will give him a big contract that will have to give the Jazz multiple picks. That's what the Jazz are asking. Markkanen makes a lot of money. It's just hard to make a trade happen and for the Jazz to hit their goals this year. I think if I really like Walker Kessler and he's turning into a really nice player, but Utah is just, it's a tough spot the Jazz are in, guys. It's a really tough spot because they're good enough to beat bad teams like this Phoenix Suns team, but they are not good enough to beat like the middle of the road and the high-level teams. So they're just in this weird spot, and they need to develop Ace Bailey. They need another superstar guy, and then after next season, they can use that free agency money. And one thing we have consistently heard from reporters and beat writers and all the guys is that the Jazz really value that cap space next offseason, you know? So it's interesting. I don't know. And I know we're talking about trades after a Jazz win, but it's just weird vibes right now with this team for me. You know, I know the team's happy they won the game, but I think there's some players on this team that are like, what is going on? Why? One for sure is Ace Bailey. What is going on? Like, why are we, I don't know. It really does feel like we're just doing this to see how good we are, and if they play really well, then they'll just go for it. But I hope the Jazz are like looking at this realistically, that you have beat a bad Suns team that didn't play their full starters, and you beat up on a Clippers team that apparently didn't realize the season had started when they played. So, and then lost to the Kings. So we'll see what happens. Next, by the way, who won the baseball game? It's the end of the 16th. Oh my gosh. 17 innings. No way. Anyways, guys, I think that's all I got tonight. Utah is now not in the lottery, so no lotteries tonight. But you know what there is? There is members. Shout out to my brother Brigham, the man, the myth, the legend. All right, let's see. So, sorry, my brain shut down there. Let's turn on the musica and let's give a shout out to our all-stars. Shout out to our newest member, Brigham. It's fun that you're watching, Brig. I appreciate it. All right. Can you hear me? Let's turn this down just a tad. All right, let's give a shout out to the all-stars. Let him cook, Sturdy Potts, Ezekiel Raicibe, the man from down under, Tyson Price, the price is right, see ya, Alexa Later, Jordan the GOAT, best roll, Ryan Edward Perry, the legend, Christian House Money to Haas, Robert, Hall of Fame, I Believe in Steve, Jazz Exile, Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire, Flipping the Script, the OG, thank you for the donation, by the way, and Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. Kyson Momberger, welcome to Rookie at the last minute, like Walter Clayton hitting shots in the fourth quarter in the overtime. Kyson Momberger jumps right in. Welcome to the channel, my man. Appreciated. Socrates. Who changed their name to Socrates? I like Bryce shooting, definitely a six-man type guy, but boy, oh boy, he just seems like another Clarkson. A little bit. He is just a more efficient shooter, though. He's got to figure out his role, and I think he is a six-man. That's exactly what he is. Welcome to the channel, Kyson. I appreciate it. We got to get Ace Bailey some minutes, guys. It's actually ridiculous. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll start next year. I don't know. We'll see. But guys, like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support, hit join below. Thank you to all the members.